In this video, I'm going to be unboxing and learning how to use a laser etcher. Thanks for clicking play and welcome to my bomb shelter basement workshop, where today I'm going to be playing with lasers. I have been thinking about this for a while, but now that I'm making more stuff to sell, I need to put my logo on it to make it a little bit more official. But I also recently had an idea that I really need to do for a friend, so that gave me the nudge I needed to buy one and start experimenting with it. So in this video, I'm going to do a very quick unboxing, a very quick setup because it's quite straightforward, but then I'm going to cover a couple of problems connecting it to your computer, a couple of problems when you're sending it to print, and the main problem I had was figuring out where the start point was, where I was supposed to put my object for it to print in the right place. And here it is. Obviously I went to Amazon. I will put the link for this in the description below, but let's get it opened. I'm not that stupid. Ooh, fancy. Instructions. Out of the box, this thing is pretty much assembled. It looks like there's one or two things I need to attach, but you know, there's no faffing around, which is good and bad because I like faffing around. This looks like a power lead in here. This is USB cable, brush, and a spanner, and something else. In the polystyrene, we've also got the glasses to protect the eyeballs, and I'm guessing that this thing is the laser. This is the Longer Ray5 Mini portable laser engraver and cutter. It's got a 3.5 watt power and it's about 15 centimeters. It's not quite the cheapest, but it is one of the cheaper ones. This cost me £100. The reason I went for this is it's got an open base, which means I can kind of put some of my bigger projects underneath there, and in theory it still should work. And to make it work, I need to read the instructions. After about 30 seconds of reading the instructions, I gave up, and I just did what any normal person would do. Watch a YouTube video. And in that video, I realized it needs to be plugged into my PC, so we're gonna have to go upstairs. Ooh. Bottom bit is detachable and on magnets. Screw thread, handly thing. This goes through one of these, but this channel here just slides down this thing here. So I can get the screw tightened on, and then we clip this thing in here, and that's it. It's pretty much ready to go. So this piece of plastic from earlier is supposed to go underneath the laser, then you lower it down so the laser is as close as possible. I've had a shave and a haircut, and that's because it's 1 week later. I'm trying to edit the video, but because I spent an entire day learning how to use the laser printer, the footage I've got is a little bit disjointed, and it's very boring. So I'm just gonna go over the key points I learnt when I was going through it, mix it in with some of the footage, and hopefully it becomes interesting and useful. Now this is the emergency stop, and it says to just make sure that's okay before you start. Also got the button turned to off. Time to plug in the power, turn it on. Oh, the PC just recognised it, and it's not doing anything. Can you hear that? It's whirring like it's about to take off. Until I know what I'm doing, I think I'm gonna turn it off. So you've attached your laser to your longer etcher thing, you're ready to stick it into your computer, and you need some software. For this video, we're gonna go through LazerGRBL because that's what it suggested in the book. Once you've downloaded and installed LazerGRBL, it should look like this, but you need to make sure you've got the right drivers. So we're gonna go to Device Manager, click on this thing, and I'll bring that in shot. I want to go to the ports, COM and LPT, and if you have a look there, oh, no, it's not there, right. So if it's not there, it's probably because you haven't plugged on your laser cutter. So if I turn it on, beep, you can see it refreshes and it says the driver automatically installed. That's what happened when I loaded the software. But if it doesn't automatically install, then all you need to do is go to, which one is it again? Tools, install CH340 driver. Dead simple. That's step one. There was loads of great videos I found on how to use the Longer etcher and LazerGRBL, but even though they were really useful, every single one of them missed this one point. My laser is etcher. My laser is etcher. My laser etcher is turned on. You can hear it whining in the background. This little green plug here is what you press to connect it. If I press that, nothing happens. And if I zoom into this bottom corner, it says status connecting, so it tricked me. I was like, it must be connecting, what's going on? Well, what was going on is this little box up here that says COM. Next to it says COM4, so let's go back to Device Manager. And if we go back to ports, like earlier, the USB serial CH340 driver is on COM7. So, if you want to connect your longer laser etcher to LazerGRBL, you need to change that to COM7. And watch this, I press the connect button, and it still doesn't connect. And that's because you need to open a file for it to actually connect. So, I'm going to very quickly open a file. We will come back to file details later, don't worry. Now that we have an image, if we hover over this green little plug and press connect, it connects. There we go, dead simple one. Switch to COM, whatever port yours is, and you can only connect it once a file's loaded in. The next point, if you're struggling to print anything on your longer laser etcher, is really stupid. So you've got your image ready to go, you've finally connected to your printer, but the play button here is grayed out. I can't send it to print. This movement panel here is also grayed out. To get everything working, you have to press the home button. Doesn't say that anywhere, it's so stupid. But yeah, if you want to get it working, you have to press the home button. Now all my little direction arrows are working, and I could actually press the play button if I wanted to. Now it's ready to print, so let's go back to loading the file. There's loads of people out there that will give you really technical, in detail descriptions of loading the file. I'm not one of them. I'm going to give you my idiot's version on something I just learned a week ago and didn't do any research. Okay, so let's start from scratch. To load in a file, you're gonna go File, Open File, dead simple. I'm gonna load in my logo. Let's press Open. So this is your first screen. This section here, no idea. The book tells you to go line by line tracing. Basically, it's just gonna go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You've got direction there as well. Horizontal, vertical, diagonal, and then the book says go up to 20 on your quality. I believe that's the amount of lines in a pass. I don't know, it's something like that. Along the bottom here we've got rotate and rotate back. What's this thing? Oh, flip horizontal, there we go. Flip vertical, if you want to crop it. This one is important though. This thing in the middle is the image I want to cut, but it does have a big white box around it. To give yourself more control on the exact size it's going to be printed out, I would press this thing. As you see, it's expanded the image to the very outside, and that means when I set the size of this, I am setting the size of the exact image. If I set the size like this, I would be setting the size of the border, and I would have to do some maths to work out the size of my actual logo. After clicking next, we're onto this little screen here. Speed, dead simple, it's how fast it moves. If the laser is moving slower, it is spending more time burning your object. Laser mode, M4, dynamic power. I can't remember the exact details, but basically dynamic power means it adjusts it automatically to try get the best result, or something like that. S-Max is not a people carrier by Ford, it is the percentage of power, that's it. So if you stick it up to 1000, that's the laser at maximum 1000. Again, if you want something that's got a really deep black burn, more power will do it, but then if it's really technical, it might burn a little bit too much, so you've got to experiment. In the next box, it is sizes and start positions, and all the videos I watched, no one really explained this clearly, or if they did, they didn't put it into caveman, which is what I need. Because on my first attempt, I put a piece of scrap wood underneath to stop it burning the desk, and then clicked start and ended up with a miniature LowBodgeItFilms logo. That's because the sizes in this box are in millimeters, and no one really told me that. Next is offset, and that's where the laser starts. But where is that position? Because there's no markings on the actual machine itself. If you've got a scrap piece of wood underneath it, do the shake test, because it will put a tiny little X at the 0000 position, and then you know exactly where the start point is. There's only one tiny little issue with that. If I want my piece of work to be anywhere else that isn't 0000, how do I figure that out? There probably is a setting or a smarter way of doing this. My stupid idea was to draw a grid that was the exact dimensions of the laser cutter, which is 13 centimeters by 14 centimeters. The grid had 1 centimeter spaces. And I just etched that into my scrap wood. So I could position something anywhere on the board and figure out really easily where my offset position was going to be. I'm gonna do my first test on this big piece of plywood. So I just need to move this across one, and it is now officially set at 2 across, 2 up. My logo is ready to go. Let's do a time lapse. I think I've figured it out. Voila! This logo is exactly 1 centimeter from the side and 1 centimeter from the bottom. So on to the next step. I'm pretty confident I can put designs exactly where I want them to now, which is good because the next step of my project is engraving on pegs. Why am I putting designs on pegs? This is a game that I played with quite a lot of my friends over the years. I think it was my first bike shop where someone showed me this game. I was at a party and suddenly people started having pegs on their back. As you get older, you start raising the stakes a little bit, and soon we were taking them to festivals and just the most random places ever. You'd suddenly see someone walking around with a peg on the back. One year at Snowbox, my friends hand drew the Snowbox logo onto some pegs to give to me as a birthday present, and yes, obviously we went round sneaking them onto people on the slopes. So now I'm taking it one step further and doing a proper design with a laser etcher for the next round of pegging. Okay. That's so deep. I'm so impressed at how much detail it can get into a tiny, it won't focus on it, there we go. Tiny little thing. So much detail on the end of a peg.
After the first test, I started experimenting with the speed, the power, and even with the design until I was happy.
So I've been using Adobe Illustrator to design my stuff, and I'm going to use the grid that I printed onto my base earlier, because this gives me the perfect sizes. Each one of these boxes is a centimeter, so all I need to do is check that it fits, which it does. Now I need to give this a test without laser cutting this whole grid again. I have added 2 little corner points. So there's one down there and there's one up here, so it should pick that up and make it the same as the grid size.
And once I was happy with that, it was time to try and make 200 of them.
I want to get as many pegs on the grid as possible because then I can set it off, don't have to worry about it, do a batch at a time. I thought I could only get 10 pegs on there because I was trying to get the whole peg on there, but I don't need to. I only need to get the printing area. Yeah, I can line them all up sideways, and I think I'm up to 14 now. So now I've put 14 onto the grid, make the grid disappear, print that out, load it into the laser cutter. All loaded in. It reckons the estimated time is 22 minutes. I've got my fan to cool everything down. Let's get this thing fired up.
After the first batch, I did another small speed and power adjustment, and that meant each batch was going to take 40 minutes to print. So for the next week, I was loading in about 3 or 4 batches per evening, with a few errors here and there where the laser knocked off pegs. Eventually I ran out of time, but we ended up with 150 pegs.
150 probably wasn't enough in the end because all his friends and family loved the pegging game, and we ran out very quickly, so yeah, probably should have made a few more. But no, he would have loved it, and he would have loved this video as well, so thanks for watching.